You okay?
We are recording. You don't think so good. You're so hard to live with. I went home. Did some church work on.
Okay, we're gonna get started. I want to thank everybody for coming this evening. Hope everybody's safe. I know we're missing a few people. There's some power outages and things like that. But we're very fortunate that we will be filming tonight, so we can get this online. Had a bunch of calls here recently, and a bunch of people talking to me. But I thank you all for coming. For those of you that are new, my name is Phil Levine. I'm the athletic director here at Lebanon High School, and this is going to be my 9th year here, my 23rd year in education, and my 17th year in athletic administration. So we're really excited and looking forward to a great year. Before I start, just wanted to mention how proud we are of what the Lebanon Tigers athletic programs accomplished last year. 5 Sagamore Conference titles, 3 sectional titles, 1 regional title, and of course our softball team captured the state championship title. So we're very thankful for that, and it was just a wonderful year. In addition to that, we had 40 student athletes make our first team all conference, and the most important thing that we're real proud of is we had 154 athletes out of our 256 athletes achieve a 3.3 B+. We call our academic students achieving excellence, our athletes achieving excellence in academics during the season. So we're real proud of their academic accomplishments as well as their athletic accomplishments. We had 17 seniors that graduated that are going to have the opportunity to participate in collegiate level sports. So we wish them the best. So just a few highlights from last year's accomplishments, and we're looking forward to again this year, and hopefully we can exceed those accomplishments. Tonight, I want to make sure that you leave here with all your questions answered, anything that you may have. Each individual sport will probably have their own, or will have their own parent meeting, and they'll cover some materials related directly to that sport. Tonight, I'm going to just cover some, in general, information about athletics, our coaches, our expectations, our goals, and some of the information that is important. But it's sport-specific stuff will go on in your individual meetings that they hold before the seasons. Before I start, up on the screen, you'll see I wanted to go over a few things on our website. Because we're in the technology age, we want to save paper. I put a little bit of a packet together tonight. But a lot of the information that I'm going to speak about this evening is on the website. I'm going to show you where you can find it. I'm going to reference it tonight, and I'll tell you exactly where it is on the website. So when you have some time at home, you're welcome to pull those pages up on the site. Obviously, our website you can get to two ways, LebanonAthletics.com, or you can go to the regular Lebanon School Corporation website, hit high school, and then hit athletics. And it'll take you right to our website. We're very proud to be in sponsorship with Varsity News Network that runs our website and runs over 125 schools' websites in the state of Indiana. The most important thing you need to know about our website is down here at the tabs, and hopefully you guys can see where I'm pointing. Caitlin, you want to turn the lights down just a little bit while I do that so they can see on the screen, if that's okay? Thanks. Obviously, our homepage is where you start. Tigers HQ is where you're going to find a lot of information. Excuse me, but I got to get close to my screen so I can see what I'm doing here. But you can see the first, and I'm getting old, so I need to get my glasses. The first thing under HQ is we have our winter and spring awards nights, the dates for those, the fall, winter, spring award nights, our booster meetings. We have an electronic newsletter that goes out once a month that is archived, our athletic facilities, our athletic staff and coaches, our coaches' code of conduct, which I'll talk about in a little bit. We have information, all the information that you would like to read about concussions. You'll hear more about that later on. Our cardiac arrest information as well. Our heat information, hydration information, our lightning policy, our Lebanon High School Method of Sports Medicine trainers information is on there. We have some articles that I'm going to speak about tonight. Case for high school sports, your parent communication I'll talk about a little bit, promoting multiple sport athletes, preventing burnout, some articles again there, sportsmanship, our strength and conditioning coach, which I'll speak about later on, and some additional information about supplements and energy and drink hydration. So right there, Tigers HQ is most of where you'll find information pertaining to some of our athletic situations and issues that we deal with, or a lot of articles that you can read. Then you have your sports. Your sports have their own pages: fall sports, winter sports, spring sports. I'm gonna click on fall sport. I'll just select football for right now. And you can see that when you click on the sport, and you at the top underneath the original tabs, now you can see that the individual pages are there. They have links. We're on the home page, but you can see their schedule, football schedule, so you can click on the individual schedule if you'd like to see, and the individual schedule pops up. And then there's a photo gallery that they can put together, or if they have a parent working on their photo gallery. So each sport has their own individual page. You get to the booster page. The booster page has our sponsorships. It will have an updated, soon-to-be scholarship application that'll be there. That's due in May. The boosters give a scholarship away, $1,000 to a boy and a girl athlete. And our sponsorship and also is there. And we're going to be, I'll have some additional information about the Spirit Store coming up. Forms. Forms is very important. We do have another scholarship later on, the Eugene Cato and Thomas Brady Scholarship offered by the IHSAA. We'll have the information there on the website. But our athletic handbook, and I'm going to speak about our handbook a lot tonight, is right there under 2016-17. We have the one-to-one computer policy. Again, we have our all sport passes information and sponsorship information. The physical form is there, and the random drug testing form is there as well. And again, the concussion and sudden cardiac arrest form. So all the forms that you are required to turn in for your gold card, most of you who participate in the fall season already have this done. Facilities just talks about our facilities and has pictures. Monthly calendar is probably the most important thing for all of you. If you click on the monthly calendar, you can view every event that's taking place in every month. And you can, right now we're seeing August and what's happening in August as far as like next week. We're getting ready for a tennis match. We have soccer matches and we start on Tuesday. But in addition to that, you can go forward or backwards in the top right. So if you want to go to September, you can keep going to October. You can go all the way through the entire year. Now this, just so you know, this calendar is being updated constantly in another program that we use, another software program called Rowing. So if you go right now to look at a spring event and a spring schedule, please understand that there could be many changes before that becomes official. But right now the fall calendar is pretty much set in stone with the exception of when we run into some weather problems and things like that. So those are some key areas on our website. Basically where you can find a lot of good information and if you have any questions. The other thing associated with our website that I'll let you know, if you want to sign up here at the top for Facebook or Twitter, it is, our website is, works in coordination with the Facebook and Twitter. If I send something out, it can send you a Twitter message or it can send you a Facebook message. So you can register online to receive that information. And also, we do have a Twitter account. It's at Lebanon Tigers. The only information you'll receive from that account is coming directly from me or Ms. Philbright in our office. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of knowledge and where you can go to receive information about athletics. Now let me get back to okay. I do want to take a minute to introduce, she can't be here this evening, but to make sure everyone's aware, and some of you already spoke with her on the phone. Shay Philbright is our athletic administrator assistant. She's the one in the office. She's the one you'll probably talk to if you walk in first and see her. She'll help you with anything you may need. Beth DeVinny, who's also our girls basketball coach, she is working in the athletic office after school during the day. She's also helping out with some game managers. So if I'm not at an event, she'll be there. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask Coach Davini. She'll be the Assistant Athletic Director for the year. As I mentioned, the website and the Twitter. I want to begin this evening talking a little bit about our coaches' expectations. Our coaches are going to try and accomplish with your son or daughter. But first I want you to know that our coaches have a code of conduct. It's in your packet. I'm going to just highlight the main focus of the code of conduct. The function of the coach is to educate students through participation in interscholastic competition. An interscholastic program should be designed to enhance academic achievement and should never interfere with opportunities for academic success. Each student athlete should be treated as though he or she were the coach's own, and his or her welfare should be utmost at all times. And of course it goes on and on and on, but that is the main gist of our code of ethics that we have for our coaches. They know that they have a tremendous influence on your son and daughter's lives. They need to get to know their athletes and need to have a full understanding of not only their athletic skill, but personally how to motivate them and how to criticize them. All of our head coaches already have the following understanding of what today's athlete in general brings to the program. We also understand why playing sports in high school is critical to academic and overall success. Again, on the website, if you go back to the HQ, you'll find an article, A Case for High School Sports. I suggest you read that article. It talks a lot about coaching today's athletes. I want to summarize some of coaching today's athletes in the article for you, because I think it's important that you understand, that we understand what has changed when you may have been a student athlete. I'm speaking to the parents right now, compared to what we're coaching today, the type of student athletes. And the article talks about the millennium generation and really focuses on 7 areas. And I want to address those 7 areas. And again, it's what we face. We've seen it, not only our coaches, but myself. We've got students that believe they're special. You know, they come to our athletic programs and they feel a sense of entitlement because they've always been told they're good or great, or maybe they're seniors now. And so that's one area of what we see. We won't recognize entitlement by the students or the parent. We've earned playing time, do what the coaches ask. So we're gonna have our student athletes earn their playing time and do what the coaches ask. We will play the best player to help us win regardless of their grade level. You know, the players and athletes that do the right thing and they're gonna help us be successful are the ones that are gonna get on the field or on the court. Number 2 is sheltered. Students have been protected from birth as a result, not being able to overcome adversity or learn how to adapt. Give your child the opportunity to try and overcome adversity. That's all that we ask. Teach them how to deal with their issues themselves first. Go off to a job or college. You cannot always solve their problems for them. Teach them how to handle criticism. That's one thing that we found. It's difficult to teach kids how to overcome adversity. Confident. Students are very confident today in their ability. However, they forget success does not come without hard work. It's not easy to be successful. You got to go out there and put the effort and the hard work into it. Team-oriented. Very team-oriented now with the texting and the social media. We'll talk a little bit more about this later. Conventional is number 5. Students actually have closer ties with their parents and embrace the values of their parents. We see that a lot. Pressured students increase competitive. There's a very increasing competitiveness, especially within the school, the jobs, the grades. Everybody wants to go to a certain school, trying to get in, the admissions. You know, they feel overwhelmed and a lot of times stressed out, need to get tutors, things like that to be successful. So there's a lot of pressure that we may have had pressure as athletes, but not as much as they have nowadays. And the last one they talk about is achieving. Students are more focused on individual achievement instead of the team. So when we have this information as a starting point for our coaches, we can address your son or daughter. And by understanding this about students today, it helps coaches to become better motivators and better communicators. So we do have an understanding of what's happening with all that. Our next thing our coaches will follow is a philosophy of multiple sport participation. I think Docs may hit on this a little bit later. We truly believe that's the avenue to go. We're going to promote multiple sport participation. We don't promote specialization. It's often listed as the main reason why schools are losing multiple sport athletes. The number 1 reason why the students, research shows, participate in sports is to have fun. So they want to have fun. We want to keep them participating as many as possible. We don't want to burn them out. There's some articles on the HQ, burnout, take out many, titled Burnout, Take Out Many Young Athletes and Prevent Burnout Among Young Athletes. Talks about burnout, participating in one sport. Want to prevent injuries. Students aren't allowed to recover a little bit when they're focused on playing one sport all year round. They never get a break. Their main performance is using one set of muscles or one set of muscles and things in their body. So there's no break, there's no recovery, and we usually see a lot of injuries. So we like to work the entire body, play multiple sports. And on the website, you'll find some more articles touting the benefit of multi-sport participation, playing multiple sports. I can tell you from experience, like I said, over the 23 years, I've had multiple athletes go on to participate at the collegiate level and the professional level. And I would say out of all those athletes, maybe one or two specialized in one sport. Most of them are multi-sport athletes. When we hear coaches from the college, they come and talk to us about individuals, either myself or some other coaches in the building. They're always like, well, do they play any other sports? What else are they involved in? So, and I think if you saw Urban Meyer, he spoke on this recently, when they go recruit their football players, they're looking at for multi-sport athletes, not specialization. Our coaches, and this sometimes some people get mad at me about this, but our coaches are really not here to get your kid a scholarship. So if you're in it, your expectation is to get a scholarship. That's not the reason why we're here. We're education-based athletics. We want to teach things that they may not get in the classroom. Time management, dedication, commitment, leadership skills. Those are the things that we want our student athletes to learn so they can be successful later in life. The one thing I will tell you is we will assist in the process. Our coaches will sit down with you. They'll talk to the athlete, talk to the parents. If they have an idea on where they want to go to school, what they want to do, and they want to play in the future, they'll help you in that process. They'll be realistic about that process, because in the end, it's our reputation that we have to uphold. So if a student walks in and they want to go to these top Division I schools, and we don't feel like their level or their ability will allow them to do that, or more importantly, their academic success, we're going to be straight up honest with you. But we'll assist in that process, most of you will get into that later on at the sophomore and junior year if you're interested. But it's not our main goal. I want to let you know just a little bit of information. The NCAA and the NAIA, they have online clearinghouse eligibility centers, and your student athlete, if they're interested in playing at the next level, and I can give you more information about that later on, and their counselors can help you with that. But they want to go online at least in their junior year. They recommend that you start the eligibility center and the clearinghouse center in your junior year to get eligible to participate at the next level. It's kind of like an ongoing portfolio with a lot of information. They want transcripts, test scores, things like that. And they're just making sure that when your student goes on to college, that they haven't received any financial rewards or anything that would make them ineligible. And also they're checking over their academic standings to make sure that they qualify to be able to participate at the Division I or Division II level in college. Just a few highlights on the multi-sport and scholarship, I should say, not multi-sport, but the research shows the ratio of academic scholarship to athletic scholarship is 70-1. In your packet that I made tonight, you'll find articles dealing with parents and elite athletes and scholarships missed, the odds long on earning college scholarships, and facts about NCAA sports and recruiting. Research in the article states, just to highlight a few things, 7.7 million high school students participating in high school athletics. Out of that 7.7 million, only 400,000 participate at the college level, and over $2 billion are awarded in scholarships to 126,000 student athletes. Only 2% of high school athletes are provided athletic scholarships annually, averaging less than $11,000 per student. The article breaks it down in sport and takes it to the professional level. For example, 0.03% of high school student athletes will eventually jump to the NBA. And I can tell you that that is, a low amount. I'm not saying to the student athletes, don't have big dreams, don't try to succeed, don't go to the next level, but all I'm saying is be realistic about it. And again, this is why we spend a tremendous amount of time recognizing academic accomplishments and not just athletic accomplishments. On the website, you'll find another article, Be Realistic About Your Child's Ability. Take the time to read this article. I know it's difficult. Parents think their student athletes are the best. This kind of can help you bring things in perspective a little bit. Next. Coaches will provide a positive instruction, but they're also going to criticize your student athlete whenever necessary. This is a difficult thing. The best coaches understand they can ultimately help student athletes by balancing praise with constructive criticism and by challenging them to be the best, making them earn their praise. The irony of the situation is the most negative aspect of high school sports experienced on a regular basis today is the criticism directed at the coach by the very people who expect them to be positive with their students. In the past, parents would direct their sons or daughters to worry about their own mistakes and weaknesses rather than criticize the coach. Not sure this is still the case today, and I must tell you, your son or daughter will face adversity and may even fail at times. And as a parent, you need to allow them to take responsibility for their actions and figure out how to solve the problems. Running into my office or flagging down a coach to handle something your son or daughter should make an effort to do first teaches them how to handle situations when they don't have their parents around to help bail them out. Let your son or daughter try to handle the situation first, and then, especially if it's playing time, and if it does not get solved or to your satisfaction, then you're welcome to come and speak with me or set up a meeting. I'd be happy to talk with you. I do want to mention playing time is really not negotiable. We don't tell our coaches who to play, who not to play. We hire our coaches to do the job. We believe that they want to be successful, and we believe that they can recognize what students should earn, that have earned and done the things that they should be doing to be out on the field. So keep that in mind. We'll have a tough conversation back and forth and maybe have to agree to disagree if we talk about playing time. However, I will make sure that your son or daughter is treated fairly in their sport. They're having the opportunity as the other kids involved in the program are having. There's nothing like someone to come and say, well, they weren't allowed to be in the drills and practice. How can my coach even see how my son's improving when he has to sit on the sidelines all the time? In that situation, I totally will agree with you, it's unfair. But if your son or daughter are being evaluated at practice every day, and they're doing the things they're supposed to be doing, and they're not getting the playing time, they should be communicating with the coach should be communicating with them. But that's a situation where you come in, I'm really not going to have much to talk to you about. And then the last thing about that I want to mention is please have no fear of repercussion. There's a myth out there that if you come to the office or you talk to the coach because you're upset, that the next thing that's going to happen is your kid is going to have to run 50 laps before they puke. I'm here to tell you, you can hear me tonight, that I'm going to protect you and protect your son or daughter, whether that means from you as a parent or a coach. Should something like that happen, I need to be told immediately, and discipline will take place immediately with the coach. So please keep that in mind. You hear in the community sometimes, and I do live in the community, well, I can't come to talk to you because then my kid's going to be alienated and he's not going to be able to do this or do that. And what usually happens is then we get to the point where your son or daughter wants to quit, and we can't do anything about it when we're at that point. We can meet, but they've already made up their mind and there's no going back. So I do not want to get to that point, so please keep that in mind. Let's see. Again, they'll be professional when dealing with your son and daughter. They want to make sure that they talk about their strengths and their weaknesses. That information gets home, the same information home to you. We have some communication information on the HQ parent-coach communication packet. You'll find our coaches, our emails. They're in the packet that I gave you this evening for every sport. Again, communication is the key. I would say 99% of my problems that I deal with parents, student athletes, and coaches is from miscommunication or lack of communication. Also, I will add in there, a lot of times you communicate through email because that's the latest and the greatest, and people read into what is sent in emails. Sometimes they try to pry out the emotion of the email, and the intention was not what was written. So you have to be careful, and the best form of communication is picking up the phone, calling, or just sending an email that say, hey, can we meet, can we talk? Because a lot of times things that you put in writing is not what you really intended to. The same goes for our coaches. I try to tell the coaches a lot, a certain point where you can't communicate through email, you're just going to have to pick up the phone and call. So keep that in mind. The last thing I want to mention before I bring up some guests with us this evening is our 24-hour rule. I want to make sure you understand that the worst time to speak to coach is after they just lost the game and you're upset that your son or daughter is not playing, and you're going to approach him after the game. I guarantee you're going to say something that you may regret. The coach may say something that they're going to regret. Go home, take a deep breath, send an email, make a phone call. Hey, can we meet? Can we talk? Let the game settle in, or the event, whatever took place. But meeting a coach or waiting for a coach afterwards is not going to work. Like I said, things are going to be said, and sometimes you can't take those things back. So we have a 24-hour rule. Take the time, go home, as I said, take a deep breath, and then reach out to the coach, and hopefully they'll reach out to you. And if they don't, feel free to call me. And one other thing, we want to provide a safe environment, so we want to make sure that all our student athletes have lockers if needed. Usually they have a PE locker, boys and girls PE locker. If they're not in PE or they're not in weight training, our coaches should be signing them lockers to lock their stuff up with. Be very careful with the computers. We've had some issues in the past. They should be locking their computers up in their hall locker. They are allowed after practices to go back to the hall lockers. I know it presents some issues when we're off campus at the middle school practicing and things like that. But again, they can come back and get their computer. They have some time sometimes to go home. If they want to lock it up in their car, that's a risk. But the computer is a big issue that we don't want to see anything happen to their computers. So please make sure they're locked up. And make sure you talk to your son and daughter about the locker rooms and the lockers, because I can tell you it'll fit in there. But a lot of times they're lazy and they just leave them on the bench in the locker room. And the locker room after school is not always locked. So just leaving your stuff on the bench is not good. It needs to be in the locker and locked up. At this time, I'm going to introduce you. We're very excited and proud that we're going to be able to continue our relationship with the Methodist Sports Medicine. And this year we have a new doctor with us, Dr. Mark Ritter. We also has his fellowship doctor that's going to be working with him here at Lebanon High School. They're going to come up, tell you a little bit about Methodist Sports, a little bit about some information, give me a break here for a second, and then I'm going to come back and follow up. Aaron Carpio, sorry, I didn't say your name, Aaron. So we're real excited to have them here, so I'm going to give them an opportunity to say a few words.
Can you hear me okay? Thanks for coming out, braving the weather. It's an honor to be a part of Lebanon family, and we appreciate the opportunity to address you. I'm Dr. Mark Ritter. I've been with Methodist Sports. This is my 10th year. I'm a knee and shoulder guy, but we've got a whole team of 15 orthopedic surgeons that kind of take care of every body part that gets injured. Aaron is our brand new fellow, so every year my 14 partners and I train 1 or 2 fellows. Aaron is a surgeon who's graduated in orthopedic surgery residency, which is usually 5 or 6 years after medical school. He could go out and practice on his own if he wanted to. What he's doing is spending an extra year with us, just learning about sports medicine, athletic injuries, taking care of athletes. And so he'll spend the year with us, and he's going to be, you'll see one of us or both of us on the sidelines. So feel free to introduce yourselves. That being said, I don't want to meet any of you in the office. I'd love to meet you on the sideline or socially, but hopefully we're not having to meet you and your student athlete is safe. And that's our primary reason for being here, is trying to take good care of the student athletes and help prevent injuries if we can. And then when an injury does occur, we're there to help out and give the best care we possibly can. Your athletic trainer is Abby Furman, or now Abby Davis. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight, but I've worked with Abby actually a couple years ago. She was an athletic trainer down at University of Indianapolis. I've been taking care of University of Indianapolis this is my 7th year now, so I worked with her for a year. She's great. I think she's going on her 3rd year, is that correct here? Abby's a wealth of knowledge, so I would encourage you, when you see Abby, if there's a question, if you're concerned about your student athlete, she is your point of contact. She is somebody that communicates with Aaron and myself daily, sometimes hourly, kind of depending on what the needs are. And she's a very good conduit to get good care for your student athletes. So please utilize her. Feel free to contact her. She welcomes it. One of the things she wanted me to talk about was impact testing. I don't know if you've heard that term. The last 5, 6, 7 years, concussions have been a hot topic at all levels of athletics, from high school, collegiate, and professional sports. Impact testing is a computer-based test that helps us to get a baseline of neurocognitive ability. So it's testing things like reflexes and ability to follow direction, and memory, and vision, and those types of things. And so student athletes, we have them take a baseline test, and it's to not to test. It's not an IQ test or anything like that. It's basically just to get a baseline, so that if they were to get a head injury, you have something with which to compare for that specific student athlete. Now we have tens of thousands of tests from high school athletes, male, female, as normative data. So you've got some reference data that's out there, but the best reference is your own test. So you can tell, hey, reflexes are a little bit slower after I got a head bonk, and it helps us diagnose a concussion, but more importantly, it helps us figure out when it's safe for that student athlete to come back. So I wanted to just touch base on the impact test, what it's for, and how we use it. Does that make sense, or can I address any questions about impact testing? Yes, go ahead.
Do they do it yearly?
Generally, no. Generally, it's a one time in high school. When we've got an athlete coming in at the collegiate level, typically they'll redo it at that level. So generally, it's a one-timer. Any other questions? I'm not a concussion expert. We've got a couple neurosurgeons in our group, actually the same guys who take care of the Colts. Hank Foyer and Terry Horner are the 2 neurosurgeons that work with Methodist Sports Medicine. And so typically, if I diagnose or Aaron diagnoses a concussion on the sideline, what we will end up doing is having that student athlete get in to see Dr. Foyer or Dr. Horner, and so that they can be evaluated. Those guys are the experts, literally the experts with this. And so, and as I said before, our primary responsibility is the safety of your athlete. You got to think of a concussion as like a really bad ankle sprain. It takes a while to come back from those. You want to make sure that everything's really good before you send them back on the field. Concussions are hard because it's not your brain. You can't see black and blue brain. You can't see a swollen brain, but that's what it is. And so you got to make sure that it's completely healed before you send somebody back out, because that's the second impact. Is really where the damage, oftentimes permanent damage, can occur. So that's the importance of the impact testing. Phil mentioned some of the overuse symptoms or overuse injuries we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of high school athletes now who are on they're on their high school team, then they're on a club team, and then maybe they're on an AAU or a travel team, and it's the same sport. And so I'm seeing some injuries now in the high school population that you would normally see in the collegiate or professional overtraining type injuries. The frustrating thing for a lot of these injuries, number one, is preventable. Number two is they're hard to treat. It's an overuse thing, and so oftentimes it requires just rest. And I don't know about you guys, but I think kids these days are a little tough when you try to tell them, hey, rest, don't do anything. They don't really respond to that well. So I appreciate you mentioning and bringing that up. So I don't want to take a bunch of your time. Thanks again for braving the weather. We're happy to answer any other questions that anybody may have. All right, no, great. All right, thank you very much.
Again, we're very happy to have these guys, and we appreciate it. They're going to sneak out now. I do want to mention a couple items because Abby could not be here this evening. Unfortunately, she has a sick dog that she's taking care of. She planned on being here. We do require notes from the doctors, and we understand that you all have your own family physicians, and you're welcome to see them. But Methodist Sports, being a partner, has a clinic, and we can get you guys in to see somebody at any time or any situation. But if you're removed from play for any reason, you are not going to be allowed to get back, whether that's a practice or a game, whether that's a concussion or any other type of injury, until we have a release form from a doctor and a note. That is imperative. We will not return you to practice or game situations if you are seeing a doctor without a release form. So please keep that in mind. We also stress to our student athletes, as Dr. Ritter mentioned, the concussions, to if an injury occurs, don't hide it. Come see Abby right away. We're not in that when we played where we're just going to tough it out, or we're going to just go, be the stud or whatever it may be, and forget about the injury and not report it. Or it only gets worse later on. So we want you to report anything that occurs, because a lot of times things can happen. We've had this happen in recent sports where the coach never sees anything, the official never sees anything, but then the kid goes home at night, starts vomiting, or has some headaches, and we later find out the next day that they have the signs and symptoms of concussion, and we get them in, but they didn't say anything about it, or we didn't see anything happen. So that does happen at times. So please, try not to be Mr. Tough Guy or Mr. Tough Lady. Let's deal with our injuries so we can get them back into play. And that's the one message that Abby wanted for me to pass along. And one other thing about the impact testing I just want to mention, we do test here our athletes that participate in contact sports every year. We're very fortunate to have a grant from the Indiana Concussions Network that allows us to impact test our student athletes that are involved in contact sports every single year, so they will get tested every year when they're here. So I wanted to pass that on. I just have a little bit more additional information that I'd like to highlight and pass along to you. Should not take very long. I want to talk about heat. We do have a policy that we have to follow for heat. It's guidelines from the National Federation and the IHSAA. That information is online. I'm not going to get into details, but it talks about water and heat, being outside, not outside, and what we need to do. And all of our coaches have taken an online course regarding heat and concussion to get certified. So it's not like we don't address the heat situation, especially right now. We do have information on that. Our lightning policy is online, as I told you. The National Federation has a flashbang rule. When you see lightning or hear thunder, you wait 30 minutes, you clear out. But we have, we're very fortunate here at Lebanon, and some of you have heard it, to have the Thor system. It's on the administrative building in our middle school. It's a system that alerts us when lightning's within 8 miles. And really the difference between our system, the Thor system, and the weather bug operates on when lightning occurs. So if they had lightning within 8 miles from us, then the weatherbug system notifies you. With our system, the Thor system, it doesn't have to occur, the lightning. It warns us when the air is conducive to creating lightning. So we're very fortunate to have that system. It's a very expensive system. All our coaches have it on their phone, so they'll get a warning, they'll get an alert, and then the thing will go off. So they have an idea when it's happening. And obviously we're going to clear the area. So if you hear that horn around town, you know what's happening. It wasn't the horn you heard tonight, but it's very similar. As they mentioned, they did a nice job on the concussion, the sudden cardiac arrest. That is a law that you have signed off on it in the back of the athletic handbook, that you understand the signs and symptoms of concussion or sudden cardiac arrest. If you don't, then please look that over on the website. Energy drinks, I just wanted to talk a little bit about energy drinks. We don't promote energy drinks here. We don't want our students to drink energy drinks here. And what I mean by that is I'm not talking about Gatorade or Powerade replenishing drinks. I'm talking about the Monster drinks, the Red Bull, those type of things. They're very high content of caffeine. They speed up the heart system, and we need to be careful that people are educated when they're drinking those things. It's not, you don't want to get a 5-hour energy pop in the middle of a game to try to give you energy, because they're also dehydration because of the amount of caffeine that is in the drinks. So we kind of outlaw those drinks. We don't promote them. If students want to do that on their own time, that's fine, but they're not the best. We do have a rule in our handbook about them. They could get in trouble if they bring it in to the school, so keep that in mind. We do promote replenishing drinks like Gatorade, Powerade, those type of drinks, or water, but we don't promote energy drinks. And that's tough because we switched to Coke, most of you know that, from Pepsi, and Coke's #1 product that they're having a lot, making financially a lot of money on is the Monster drink right now, and they want us to sell it in our concession stand. So right now we're holding off on doing that to follow our rules and policies and procedures. The last thing on some of the additional information is our supplements. Again, we won't promote supplements. We feel like proper nutrition is the way to go, but you're welcome to look at supplements and do things. We won't promote them. The only thing I ask is, if you're going to take something, or your son or daughter is going to take something, that you check with your family physician. That's the best way, so to understand what you're putting in your system. So it's your choice, but you're not going to see our kids popping some powder or stuff in a drink before they go into the weight room or things like that, because we don't allow that. But what they do in their own time, what they do with you, is your business. But again, my recommendation would be to talk to your family physician before you put anything in your system. Some goals for this year. Obviously, we want to increase our participation in numbers. Our total enrollment is a little bit down this year. If we could get enough kids to have freshman teams in all our sports, we'd love to do it. So increased participation is one of our big roles. We want our kids to be dedicated and committed to the sport that they're involved in. We're working on that. Mental toughness is another area that we're focused on. There's an there's an article in your packet that talks about mental toughness, dedication, and commitment. Not your packet, but on the HQ site, so feel free to look that over. Again, academics are our priority, so if a student is struggling, we want that student to stay after school and work with the teacher. And as long as they bring a note, there should not be any repercussions for them doing that, as long as they're not staying after for a teacher because they're procrastinating. And what they mean by that is if they have a project or assignment done that needs to be completed and they're given 2 weeks to do it, they're not going to wait until the 2 days before and say, "Coach, I can't make practice today, I got a project to do." That's not fair, and that's not what we need. What we're talking about is a student that's struggling academically, needs a little bit of extra help, and the only time they can get help is after school. They're welcome to stay with the teacher, bring a note, make sure the teacher outlines what's going on, and there won't be any repercussions for that, because again, academics are our #1 priority. About mental toughness. Sportsmanship, very high on sportsmanship. The Sagamore Conference is going to have a sportsmanship summit coming up soon. We'll be sending some athletes from all the Sagamore Conference schools to Tri-West to participate. We're looking to do some things with the conference to promote positive sportsmanship. And we're not just talking about athletes, we're talking about parents as well. The worst thing you can do is criticize at an event or criticize after an event. Try to bite your tongue as a parent. Try to be supportive. That's what we ask. But I know it's difficult at times. Our officials don't make a lot of money. They enjoy doing what they're doing. We understand that they're going to make mistakes at times. So just keep that in mind. But there's some articles on the HQ, Together Everybody Achieves More, Good Sports Are Winners, Sportsmanship A to Z. So please check those out. I appreciate it. Our focus is really going to be on positive sportsmanship this year in a lot of things that we do. A couple other items in our handbook that I just want to bring to your attention. They're part of our goals. Keep in mind, there is a IHSA return to participation rule. People forget about this sometimes. If you miss 5 to 10 days of practice, for whatever reason, you're gonna have to attend 4 days of practice before you compete again. And if you miss more than 10 days of a practice, you're gonna have 6 days of practice before you can compete for whatever reason. That's to protect our kids that sometimes get injuries or for various other reasons. Again, it goes back to commitment. The other thing I want to talk about, the last 2 things in the handbook, pretty much first deals with social media. Please try to understand or communicate with your son or daughter about what they're posting on Facebook or what they're doing in social media. Can't get anything back they could post. Snapchat, Facebook, it's there. We have all been told as educators and from the people out in the business that they are going to Facebook sites to understand the character of the individual before they hire them as an employee. That's where they're getting their information about them from the social media. That's where colleges in the admissions process now are comparing 2 kids with a 3.3 grade point average. So what these student athletes are posting on the website or Facebook or wherever, they can't get back, so they need to be positive. And, you know, the old adage, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. But a lot of them are sharing their entire life stories out there, and I encourage you as parents to get involved in what they're posting. Be careful, because it could have some consequences for their future. So keep that in mind. And then we also have the substance abuse policy. You know, I talk about this all the time, and parents say, well, my son or daughter is a great kid. I don't think I'll ever have to worry about that. 23 years of experience. I've had students, straight A students get in trouble, students that receive B's and C's. It doesn't matter. We've dealt with the realm all the way across the board. So understand, if someone gets involved with substance abuse, they're going to miss 50% of their events, and they're also going to have an assessment from a professional clinic in town somewhere, whether that's Aspire, Boone County Boone County Mental Health Association, or if that's any other organization in town, professional, will have an assessment. So please be careful. I can tell you, unfortunately, with these concerts that happen at Klitsch Theater this summer, we've had a lot of situations that I haven't had to deal with in the past, and it's very unfortunate. I'm not happy with Klitsch right now because it doesn't feel like we're getting the support from the security system there, but we've had a lot of kids from peer pressure for whatever reason get involved in some things that they shouldn't be involved in. Obviously, we're holding them accountable. We don't go out and look for this stuff, but when it comes across our plate, we deal with it. So as parents, I just tell you, that's not a very good place right now if your sons and daughters are going to concerts. I know you have to trust your son or daughter, and you want to give them that responsibility, but please be careful, because that has not been very favorable to us this year, things that have happened out there. The other things that are in the handbook, and I know some of you just sign off on it, but you need to be aware, there's eligibility rules, we have awards and lettering policy, violation of school rules, things that happen, we have attendance policy, there's transportation rules, and obviously there's a lot of frequently asked questions that's in there. So please look over the handbook, it's online under forms. Just want to briefly mention about our strength and conditioning coach, coordinator. Unfortunately, we lost the one that we had. Went on to bigger, better things in his mind, and we supported him in that endeavor. But tomorrow night at the school board meeting, we'll be approving our new strength and conditioning coach. He will be starting by the end of this week. We're very excited. He comes with a lot of experience. I'll be sending out an email, text message. We'll put him on the website so you'll learn more about him. Right now, that's really all I can speak till he's approved by the school board. But we're very excited to have him. He's going to work with all the teams, all the coaches, and he'll be in the weight training classes just like Ethan did when he was here. So hopefully that'll begin. He's going to be here tomorrow. Again, get approved by the school board hopefully tomorrow night, and he'll be starting this week. So there'll be more information about him. And in the essence of time, I just want to mention that in the back of your handbook, and I usually go into greater detail with these, but I'm going to let you take a look at it. There's personalities, 8 personalities of parents, and we've seen them all as we go through and coach and work with individuals here at Lebanon High School. I ask you to look them over and see if you fit into one of those categories. Are you a helicopter parent? Are you a dry cleaner parent? Are you a karaoke parent, a volcano parent? et cetera, et cetera. There's 8 of them. Take a look at them, see if you fit into any of those categories. Be interesting. I can tell you that I could probably pinpoint some of our parents in some of these categories. Really what we want you to be is not in those categories. We want you to be the model parent. We want you to volunteer, be positive, control your emotions, making mistakes is part of learning, respect the officials, focus on fun and participation, learn the rules of the sport, that's a big one, and show an interest, and be an outstanding role model for your son or daughter. The worst thing you can do is go home after your son or daughter has played in the game and criticize what took place between the coach or whatever happened at the game with your son or daughter, because you're putting your child in the middle. The athlete wants to perform well for their coach, and the athlete wants to perform well for you as a parent. There's ways that you can discuss with your son or daughter how the game went, what do they think, this and that, to get to your points on what may be questions, or hey, ask the coach about this, or what he thought about that, or what's going on. But try not to put your son or daughter in the middle where they're trying to please you, which is their number one priority, but they're also trying to please the coach. So when they get in the next day, there's just this tension and boil. And I know it's difficult, but please, when you have those conversations about events, games, practice, whatever, try to do it in a way where they don't end up being in the middle, trying to please you and the coach. And I know I'm guilty of doing that, unfortunately, myself. But please keep that in mind when you're talking to your son or daughter, especially after a hard-fought event. We may not have come on the winning side. They're already down. They don't need to be torn down again when they get home. And the coach is going to probably do a little bit of tearing them down as well. But it's great if you can bring them back up and be positive. And I know the coaches will eventually be positive with them. So be a model parent, support the programs, and be a good role model. The National Federation online has a free course. If you're interested, you can take it. It's the role of a parent in sport. Some schools are making it mandatory that their parents take it. I'm not going to do that. But if you're interested and you have some time, you can go there. It'll take you about 30 minutes. A very good course for you. The last thing I want to mention is we're very fortunate to have with us this evening our booster president, Kevin Sosby, down in front. Stand up just so they put the face with the name. Kevin is working hard to help us and our group of individuals to support our student athletes and meet their needs and our coaches' needs. Please keep in mind, we don't get hardly any money in athletics from the school corporation. They help obviously with the coaches' stipends, transportation, and some of the facilities management. But for the most part, the boosters and the teams and their fundraisers and the things that they do are raising the money that support our athletic programs. I can tell you when we do a budget, it costs me about $33,000 a year for all the officials that we have to pay for, and our all sport passes, when we sell them, we probably make about $25,000. So our all sport passes almost make as much money to help pay for all the officials for all the events throughout the season. So to get them the new uniforms, to get them the equipment they need, to get them everything else, we're relying on the boosters, the fundraisers, and some of the gate when people don't have passes. We're very fortunate here that we haven't gone to pay to play, and we don't want to do that. I'm against it, so is our superintendent. So we encourage you, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor or you want to become a booster member, please make those donations because it does go right back to help our student athletes. We do spend between $110,000 and $150,000 a year on our athletes, so we're raising a ton of money every year to make sure they have what they need. So I wanted to mention that, and thank Kevin for coming and taking that leadership role. In the back of your packet, you do have our sponsorship information, your all sport information. Shay and myself are in the office. You can come by and get your pass any day, anytime. We will be selling them at Friday night at the football game as well. We are doing a couple other fundraisers. The stadium, the Tiger, and the flagpoles that were moved, that was Noah did as a Eagle Scout project. We are selling bricks where the mulch is. So that whole area will be brick. So if you're interested in purchasing a brick, that information is in our office, and also we'll be at the game Friday night. So look into doing that. But please get involved. I know you enjoy your son and daughter's season more if you're involved in some way, whether that's selling concessions, whether that's helping out as a team mom or team dad, or working with the coaches in meeting their needs in the individual meeting, the things that they say they need. That's about all the information I have. I want to thank you guys for coming, braving the weather. Wish you guys the best of luck all year long, and maybe I know I'll see you out there at one of your games, and I may pop in at some of the parent meetings. But if you have any further questions, feel free to send me an email, stop by my athletic office at some time. I'd be happy to answer your questions. But thanks again for coming tonight. Go Tigers.